What would you do if you couldn't fail? Who would you become if your goals were attainable? What if that self-induced fear and that disbelief was instantly gone? What would you go after? What girl would you date? What type of man would you become? How much money would you have? What sort of business would you endeavor? What sort of impact would you bring to the world? You must be able to dream in order to achieve. And the truth is, most individuals, they don't move forward. They don't move forward because they don't have goals. They don't move forward because they don't have objectives. They don't move forward because fear cripples them. Fear is holding them back from becoming the best version of themselves. So once again, I ask you, what would you do if you couldn't fail? If you only live once, you best go for it. What is there to lose? At the end of the day, we all die anyway. So might as well go down trying.
What were the goals that you had when you came over to the States with the $200? And did you have the big goals, or did you have to figure them out yet? Or did you have a very clear goal as you have right now?
My goal was freedom. That's it. And I had freedom when I was living in my brother's apartment, spending $200 a month in rent, sleeping on his couch. I had freedom. Now, freedom needs to be earned, but it also needs to be maintained. Naval Ravikant famously said, people that live beyond their means do not experience peace. Then he says, people that live below their means will experience a level of peace that those above their means will never experience. So freedom can be experienced. You don't have to be making a ton of money. So my objective was freedom, right? And I achieved that by sleeping $200 a month on a couch to then focus what? My time, energy, and attention to making more money. But a lot of live beyond their means. Their time and energy and focus is what? Spent on paying their bills. They're in a relationship that's toxic, that is not supporting their endeavors and their goals. So they spend their time, energy, and attention supplying that person. Their friends, right? They're not good friends. So they spend their time, energy, and attention with people that are not ROI positive. And their daily actions and their habits, right? They spend their time, energy, and attention on those things that yield no result. I had good relationships, good friendships, good networking, good habits, and I lived below my means so that I could focus my time, energy, and attention on making money.
How should one go about finding out for themselves if they're on the right path?
You need to know your goal. You need to establish your goal. And then you need to ask yourself if what you're doing is purposeful and beneficial to the achievement of your goal. A good thing at the wrong time can become a bad thing. It's like giving a razor to a baby and expecting the baby not to cut himself. But when you give the razor to a man, the man knows how to use it. So the issue may not be the relationship, the issue may not be the girl, the issue may be your inability to establish goals, to establish boundaries, and therefore to be in an environment where you can still pursue your goals effectively. A good thing at the wrong time may be a bad thing. The relationship may not be a bad thing. It may just not be the right time.
So how does one go about setting goals?
I often talk about the symphony of success. What does success sound like to you? Not what success means to me, not what success means to your parents, to your friends, to the system. What does success sound like to you? What is your symphony of success? When you hear successful, living a successful life, what comes to mind? For a musician, it may be really good at playing an instrument. For me, it may be developing a phenomenal business. For an athlete, it may be developing a great athletic career. What is your symphony of success? It really depends on the individual. That's why there's no one spectrum of success. There isn't one number to achieve that defines success. That is my definition of success, but that is for me. Why? Because every person beautifully has been created to have their own specificity. So you have your own dreams, you have your own ambitions, you have your own symphony of success. You need to find that. And how do you find it? From deprogramming from the that everybody else has told you of what it means to be successful. You need to stop listening to others and start listening to yourself. But the problem is nobody knows how to listen to themselves. They're scrolling on TikTok, music on loud every day, when they're driving, radio turned on, when they're home scrolling on their phones, when they ask for opinions, they ask for opinions from other people. They ain't even asking opinions from themselves. They're going to a psychologist, asking a psychologist for wisdom and advice on how to live their lives. and they're paying this money, and all you are is a client, so might as well keep this person sick as long as possible, or deranged, or in the loop of coming and sitting on the chair. Why? Because they're paying for the mortgage. When's the last time you sat down and defined your symphony of success? What does success look like to you? To me, it's not having a ton of properties and living in a big fat box and having a ton of supercars. No, to me, it's freedom. And I found that early on. Now I just am able to experience a different level of freedom with more toys and more things, and I can bring people along that journey with me to enjoy it. That is my symphony of success. And if I was to cater or falter to what other people told me what success was, then I have gone from successful to unsuccessful.